At 2 in the morning, a girl suddenly added me on WeChat. I'm your boyfriend's girlfriend. My heart skipped a beat, and I accepted the friend request. She sent me a photo of Henry sleeping soundly, remaining calm. I replied, "Are you the other woman? Or am I?" She replied with a meme that basically meant think bigger and said, "Neither, based on what I know. You're the fourth and I'm the fifth." I sent a question mark. She replied, "Are you free tomorrow? Let's go find the second and third together." Later on, the four of us created a group chat. Not only did we spend Henry's money like crazy, this idiot rich second-generation heir's money, but we also regularly got together to play mahjong, until Henry's family started pressuring him to get married. That's when we decided to do something huge. Chapter 1. At 2 in the morning, I had just finished writing and was about to shut down my computer when someone suddenly added me on WeChat. The note read, "I'm your boyfriend's girlfriend." My first reaction was that it had to be a prank. Where would Henry get another girlfriend besides me? Sure, he was handsome and rich, and girls had never been in short supply around him. But during the 2 years we'd been together, I had basically trained him into a decent boyfriend. He was already preparing to introduce me to his parents so we could discuss marriage. How could he possibly have the guts to cheat? Absolutely impossible. Just as I was about to delete the friend request, another message came through, or rather, one of his girlfriends. All right, so this is the game we're playing? I wanted to see who exactly was pretending to be mysterious. I immediately accepted the request. Before I could even type a message, she sent over a photo of Henry sleeping. Huh? What was going on? How was this possible? Hadn't he told me earlier that his third uncle had passed away and that he had gone back to his hometown for the funeral? This photo had to be fake, right? Before I could process it, she sent more than a dozen photos in a row. Every one of them looked intimate. Some of them were clearly taken in bed. The girl in the photos was adorable, big round eyes, a round face, and almost always dressed in cute little dresses. She was the very definition of an anime-style girl, completely different from a bespectacled nerd like me. From the photos, it looked like they'd gone to Disneyland together, visited an aquarium, and vacationed on the beaches of Sonya. Wait, why was she sending me all this? Before I could ask, she spoke first. Hey, sis, isn't this such a crazy coincidence? Our boyfriend is actually the same person. We're practically destined to meet. What kind of tone was that? Was she provoking me? I got straight to the point. Are you the other woman? Or am I? She replied with a smirking emoji. Neither, based on the information I've gathered so far. You're probably the fourth and I'm the fifth. I sent a question mark. Did such an absurd sentence really exist in the real world? While I was still in shock, she asked, "Are you free tomorrow? Let's arrange a time and go find the second and third." Hold on, let me process this first. Was all of this actually real? The boyfriend I'd been dating for 2 years, the one who was about to introduce me to his parents and discuss marriage, actually had a whole group of girlfriends? I wasn't even a full-time girlfriend. I was basically working shifts on a rotating schedule. So, sis, are you coming? When I didn't reply, she asked again. Even if what she was saying was true, tracking down the second and third girlfriends together sounded more than a little insane. But she seemed remarkably open-minded about it and sent several messages trying to persuade me. No, I think this is exciting. Not everyone gets an experience like this. Most people are one-on-one relationships. But we're different. There's strength in numbers. Sis, we have to unite. We can't let more people get deceived. Fighting scumbag men is everyone's responsibility. What can I say? The moment I learned Henry had cheated on me, I was shocked and devastated. But after reading her messages, I suddenly felt strangely fired up. It was as if a beam of righteous light exploded above my head with a thunderous boom. And from that moment on, I felt burdened with a mission to protect humanity's happiness. I couldn't let down all the people in the world who had suffered heartbreak. I had to pull myself together. Right. Decision made. Okay, I'll listen to you. See you tomorrow. Chapter 2. During the time that followed, she roughly told me about her relationship with Henry and reminded me to save every piece of evidence from our relationship because it would be useful later. According to her, her name was Abigail, and she was a gaming streamer. Henry had been her top donor for years, so it wasn't strange that they ended up together. What was strange was that she accidentally discovered Henry had more than one phone, and more than one girlfriend. He would order multiple bouquets of the same flowers. He would have people buy multiple copies of the same designer bag. He would repeatedly visit the same vacation resorts. He even bought black stockings from the same online store in bulk. At first, she couldn't believe it either. After all, during the year plus they had been together, Henry had treated her very well. He had even talked about introducing her to his parents and getting married. Then one day, they went to see a movie. During an emotional scene, she pulled tissues out of her bag. Henry casually remarked, "Why do all of you start crying at this exact part?" Instantly, she remembered a joke she had seen online. Under a post about a movie trying to reach a massive box office milestone, a guy had commented, "I did my best. I took every girl I was flirting with to watch it." At that moment, everything suddenly clicked. It felt like being struck by lightning. That very night, she convinced Henry to go drinking with her and did everything she could to get him drunk. Then she unlocked his phone using his fingerprint. What she found was that his WeChat note for her read, number 5/busty airhead female streamer Abigail 11:15. She stared at it for several seconds, then immediately decided she needed a cold shower. After that, she spent more than 2 hours gathering information on the rest of us. And then she added me on WeChat. Just like that, the two of us chatted for most of the night. Every piece of information matched. By the time dawn was beginning to break, neither of us could stay awake any longer, and we finally went to sleep. When I woke up the next day, it was already 11:30 in the morning. Without even bothering to eat breakfast, I quickly got ready and headed out. I was a little excited, and a little nervous. How should I put it? It felt strangely similar to anticipating a meeting with an online friend. After all, we'd talked all night and discovered that we got along incredibly well. There was even a sense of wishing we'd met sooner. She was right. The connections between people really are unbelievably strange. The moment she saw me, she jogged over. Then she threw her arms around me in a huge hug. The first thing she said was, "You really are exactly like the note he gave you." What note? Number 4/gentle and sophisticated female writer Luna 4:25. I burst out laughing. Gentle and sophisticated? Well, thanks for that, Henry. In reality, I was just an online novel writer, a web novelist at best. So, what about the other girls? My curiosity had been completely awakened. What did he write for them? Let me think, she said. Number 3 was probably pure campus beauty and drama queen Wendy. Number 2 was cold-blooded she-devil. What was her name again? Oh right, Valeria. Cold-blooded she-devil? Now that's someone I really want to meet. Valeria. That name sounds familiar. She's Henry's childhood sweetheart. They grew up together and even have an arranged engagement. Does she know about the existence of the rest of us? Why don't we go ask her and find out? As she spoke, she pulled out a huge sheet of paper from her bag and spread it across the cafe table. Across the top, in large bold letters, were the words, "Operation, Take Down the Scumbag." Looking over it, I could see that the plan contained detailed records of every single one of Henry's girlfriends, including, but not limited to, where they lived, what jobs they had, how they met Henry, how long they'd been together, their hobbies and interests, and much more. I was completely stunned, absolutely speechless. How had she managed to gather so much information in such a short amount of time? This girl was a genius, someone destined for great things. According to the plan, our next step is finding number 3. She circled Wendy's name on the battle map with a pen. Come on, we're heading to her university right now. I nodded firmly, once again feeling my blood boil with excitement. On the way there, I asked, "Henry won't get suspicious about us meeting, right?" "No, today's his mom's birthday, so he'll be spending the day with her. If I'm not mistaken, Valeria should be there too." "Who's Valeria?" "Number 2, the she-devil." "Oh, right, sorry, I'm still new to the job." We looked at each other, then both burst into laughter at the same time. It was strange, but I already felt like she was an incredibly adorable girl. Being around her made me genuinely happy. Chapter 3. Wendy truly deserved her reputation as the beauty queen of the art academy. She was genuinely gorgeous. The kind of gorgeous that rivaled movie stars. When she saw the two of us, she was completely bewildered. She even thought we were some kind of new scam. Then Abigail calmly pointed at the Chanel 19 bag Wendy was carrying and said, "We both have that bag too. Henry had it brought back from France. Did he tell you he bought it especially for you? Did he also tell you he was planning to introduce you to his parents and marry you? He took you to Disneyland in Shanghai and Wuzizu Island in Sanya. Your birthday is August 20th. He gave you a black and silver Hermes Birkin. The year before that, he gave you a Cartier bracelet. For your first anniversary, he sent you more than 999 Corolla red roses. And last week he took you to see that movie. And when you were about to cry, he handed you tissues ahead of time." "Stop talking." She looked as though she were falling apart. Her eyes were already turning red. "What exactly is the point of telling me all this? Why did you two come looking for me? What do you want?" I answered honestly. "What other reason could there be? We just want you to see who he really is so you stop getting deceived." "So what if I'm being deceived? The money he spent on me wasn't fake, was it? Who cares what's real and what's fake? Whether he loves this one or that one, or whether he loves several women at the same time, I don't care, okay?" Abigail and I exchanged glances. Neither of us had expected that reaction. After a long silence, Wendy seemed to give up entirely and said, "The only thing I care about is his money. I need his money, so I'm not joining your plan." And she stood up, preparing to leave. "I don't mind if you two break up with him and let me keep being his girlfriend. I'd be thrilled if I were the only one left. And if he proposed to me, I'd say yes." "I don't understand," I said. "Do you really love him that much?" Abigail also stood up, becoming increasingly emotional. "He's a cheating scumbag. What's there to love? Aren't you afraid he'll catch something and pass it on to you?" "I'm not afraid. So what if I get sick? It still wouldn't be worse than the situation I'm in right now." She practically ran away in tears. Abigail and I looked at each other, stunned. Neither of us had expected this. Such a beautiful girl, yet she seemed so resigned. What had she gone through to develop such views on love and marriage? And why was she so desperately short of money? My instincts told me that Wendy definitely had a story, or perhaps a hardship she couldn't talk about. Before long, all of our questions were answered, because before we could go find number 2, the eldest daughter of the Moo group, Valeria Moo, who happened to be Henry's fiancée, she came to find us herself. Not only that, she told us she already knew about our plan, and she wouldn't mind taking it a step further. She wanted to make a much bigger move. As it turned out, the Jean Group, Henry's family company, was facing a financial crisis and urgently needed a marriage alliance with the Moo Group. Valeria wanted no part of it. Instead, she intended to use the opportunity to swallow the Jean Group whole. Honestly, I even suspected she was the reason the Jean Group was in trouble in the first place. A cold-blooded she-devil? Please. She was clearly a decisive and formidable businesswoman. She was unbelievably cool. "Will you help me?" She looked at Abigail and me sincerely. "If everything succeeds, I'll pay each of you $5 million as compensation." "Each how much? $5 million? I swallowed hard. My eyes practically lit up. "Are really?" "Of course. I'm tired of being a sacrifice in men's power struggles. In ancient times, women were married off to secure alliances. Today, women are pushed into corporate marriages. Who the hell wants to be a disposable pawn? Why should women be pawns at all? What I've wanted from the very beginning is to stand at the top of the food chain and become the one who writes the rules." Abigail and I were left speechless. What were we supposed to do? Valeria's arrival somehow made everything even more exciting. Our blood was truly pumping now. "Fine, whatever you say. We'll do." Abigail grabbed my hand and answered Valeria firmly. At that exact moment, our phones buzzed simultaneously. A WeChat message had arrived. From Henry. The two of us looked at each other at the same time. It seemed the game had officially begun. Chapter 4. In his WeChat messages, Henry said he was feeling down and wanted to go abroad to clear his head. The difference was that he told Abigail he wanted to go to Norway to see the Northern Lights. He told me he wanted to go herd sheep in the Swiss Alps. Everything else was exactly the same. How should we reply? We both turned to look at Valeria. After thinking for a moment, she said to Abigail, "Tell him your family is pressuring you to go on blind dates and that you've reached your limit. Ask him directly whether he really intends to marry you. If he's serious, then you'll go with him. Otherwise, you don't want to keep wasting your time." Then she turned to me. "As for you, tell him you're willing to go. Ask him when he plans to leave. Then tell him you need to build up a backlog of chapters first, so you won't be able to see him much for a while. After some time, ask him whether he genuinely plans to marry you." We obediently nodded. Then we asked why she had arranged things that way. She replied, "First, we can't let him know we already know about each other's existence. Second, make him think both of you want to marry him so he'll lower his guard. Then I'll go through with the wedding as planned. And when the time comes..." I know! Abigail suddenly jumped to her feet. "We'll show up wearing wedding dresses together. Just like in those TV dramas." "Oh my God. That's so exciting!" Valeria and I rolled our eyes at her speechlessly. Embarrassed, she sat back down. Sorry. I got a little excited." "Where were we?" "You were talking about going through with the wedding," I reminded Valeria. And then, ring, ring, ring. At that moment, Valeria's phone suddenly rang. She got up to answer it. Afterward, she told us, "Something's come up. I have to leave first. Just do what I told you, and try to get Wendy into our group chat." "Got it. Leave it to us." Mission accepted. Not long after she left, Henry replied to Abigail. He said that wanting to marry her was absolutely genuine. Abigail pretended to be thrilled and asked when they could go look at wedding dresses. He replied that he'd arrange it as soon as he had some free time. As for me, he said there was no problem. Once I finished building up my chapter backlog, I should tell him, and then we'd arrange a trip to Switzerland together. So during this period, I raised an eyebrow and grinned mischievously at Abigail. "Looks like you'll have to spend some quality time with our boyfriend for the sake of the mission." She looked both dead inside and ready to sacrifice herself. "Don't worry, for the greater good. I'll endure it." Things were progressing fairly smoothly. During the following weeks, Henry showed no signs of suspicion. When he took Abigail to look at wedding dresses, he said countless heartfelt things to her. He told her that his greatest dream in life was to marry her, that she was the first girl he'd ever wanted to marry the moment he laid eyes on her. He even said that if he could truly make that dream come true, his life would be complete. When Abigail played the recording for us, we were so disgusted we nearly threw up. But objectively speaking, if we hadn't known about each other's existence, we probably would have believed we were the happiest women in the world. Because his affection didn't feel fake at all, his sincerity was so convincing that it seemed completely genuine. If he were in the entertainment industry, his acting skills would have won every major award imaginable. Of course, he wasn't only focused on Abigail. Every morning and every night, he sent me good morning and good night messages like clockwork. He regularly checked on how my writing was going and asked when we could meet. He even bossily told me, "Why do you have to work so hard? I'm already rich enough. Supporting you completely wouldn't be a problem. And by the way, I've already arranged for people to follow up on adapting your novel into a film or television project. Just wait and see. Sooner or later, I'll make you famous." Having a talented wife like you is honestly a damn privilege. The truth was, he had said things like this many times before. During the 2 years we'd been together, he had genuinely made me feel loved, while saying he hated seeing me work so hard and could support me himself. He also backed those words with actions. You could say that he was everything I had ever wanted in a boyfriend. Handsome, rich, generous, understanding, devoted, willing to give me a future I could actually see. Honestly, I couldn't understand it. How could a person be so completely divided? It was difficult for me to imagine, even harder to believe. Someone who had loved me so carefully and thoughtfully was simultaneously loving several other women, and making every one of them believe she was his one true love. No, I couldn't keep thinking about it. If I did, I'd start crying. Forget it. What's done is done. There's no point dwelling on it anymore. It's better to simply accept reality. Chapter 5. During that period, aside from dealing with Henry, Abigail and I met up frequently. What I didn't expect was that one night we would run into Wendy drinking herself senseless at a bar. She was knocking back drink after drink. Her face was flushed red. There was a fragile, broken kind of beauty about her. Just as we were about to go over and say hello, we suddenly saw a middle-aged man forcibly dragging her away. She resisted, but she didn't have the strength to fight back. Abigail and I immediately followed them. "How long has it been since you came home?" The man grabbed Wendy's long wavy hair and yanked it downward violently. "You've got money to drink here but no money to send me? You ungrateful little brat. Have you forgotten who raised you and your brother? If I hadn't been kind enough back then, you'd have been sold to some brothel long ago." He pulled so hard that Wendy was forced to tilt her head back and stare at the sky. That's when I noticed silent tears sliding from the corners of her eyes. What was strange was that she didn't struggle. It was as if she had already gotten used to it. Abigail couldn't take it anymore. She cursed under her breath. Without hesitation, she charged forward and started fighting with him. Unfortunately, she was clearly no match for a grown man. Seeing that she was about to get hurt, I spotted an empty beer bottle by the roadside. There was no time to think. I grabbed it and smashed it over his head. Crash! The bottle shattered instantly. The sound ripped through the silence of the night, while he clutched his head with both hands and screamed in pain. We grabbed Wendy and ran. Only after reaching a deserted pedestrian overpass did we finally stop. Looking down at the stream of traffic below, Wendy told us her story. The middle-aged man had been her uncle by marriage. She and her younger brother had been raised by their aunt and uncle. Her aunt had treated her reasonably well, but 2 years earlier, her aunt had died of colorectal cancer. After that, her uncle started gambling. He accumulated enormous debts, and he frequently abused both her and her brother. "What about your parents?" I asked softly, my heart aching for her. "Don't they help you?" "They're dead." Her tone was unnervingly calm. "They were killed in a construction accident." A long silence followed. Then Abigail cautiously asked, "So the reason you need so much money is to help him pay off his debts?" "Help him?" Wendy laughed bitterly. "I'd rather see him dead. I'm doing it for..." Her voice faltered. A clear sob crept into her words. "I'm doing it for my little brother. He's sick. He's in the ICU right now. It takes money just to keep him alive. He's the only family I have left in this world. I can't abandon him. Do you understand?" "We understand." "Then stop trying to take Henry away from me, okay?" "What?" Abigail and I stared at her in shock. We could hardly believe what we had heard. Nearly crying, she shouted at us in a trembling voice, "I'm not like you two. I worked incredibly hard just to get together with Henry. As long as he's willing to give me money and stay with me, I'll do anything. But..." "No buts." She cut me off sharply. "I don't care what you're planning. Leave me out of it. Honestly, I'd be thrilled if both of you broke up with him so I could have him all to myself." Abigail and I exchanged helpless glances. We still wanted to say something, but Wendy turned around and left. Before she went, she repeatedly warned us not to come looking for her again. After we got home, we told Valeria everything in the group chat. After reading the entire story, she replied with only one sentence. "That's easy. Isn't this just a money problem? It's not like Henry is the only rich man in the world." Chapter 6. The very next day, we cornered Wendy at her part-time job. It was at an auto show, working as a promotional model. She was dressed in very little clothing, and quite a few balding middle-aged men were touching her thighs. But she didn't seem to care. Just like last time, she appeared irritated the moment she saw us. Even when we told her we could give her money, any amount she wanted, she could name the price herself, she merely looked at us with contempt and said firmly, "Please, stop acting like self-righteous saints, okay? What makes you think I can be bought with money? Henry doesn't just give me money, he sleeps with me too, and he's very good in bed. I'm addicted to it. Understand? And one more thing." Her tone became almost threatening. "If you really care about me, then stay away from him. Don't touch him, not even once. He should only sleep with me. He's mine alone. Have you lost your mind?" Abigail was clearly furious, disappointed and frustrated. She snapped, "Are you really that desperate for a man? We can find you some too. As many as you want. Enough to last until you're satisfied. I only want Henry. I stared at her speechlessly. Don't tell me you've actually fallen in love with him? She froze for a moment. Then she shouted back at me. So what if I have? Is that a crime? I love him. I love him enough that I don't care about sharing him with other women. Happy now? Can you leave me alone? With that, she turned and walked away. She looked like an enraged leopard. Holy hell. Abigail kicked a roadside barrier so hard it rattled. Then she cursed under her breath. She must have been born to suffer. It's like she's never seen a man before. She'll swallow anything. Even pigs have higher standards. All right, calm down. I pulled Abigail away. Then I reported everything honestly in the group chat. Valeria didn't comment on Wendy's behavior at all. Instead, she simply told us the wedding date. It was very close, the beginning of next month. And during that very month, Henry managed to squeeze in a trip to Switzerland with me, just as he had promised, to herd sheep in the Alps, even though I felt deeply uncomfortable about it. I went for the sake of the plan. What I didn't expect was that on our very first day there, he would get down on one knee and propose, holding a flawless 10-carat diamond. He knelt beneath the Alps. Around us, sheep grazed freely on the grass. A stream flowed gently nearby. Everything was so beautiful it felt unreal. That scene was something I had described to him countless times, back before I learned I was only number 4. Unfortunately, he had kept his promise, but all I felt was disgust. His wedding to Valeria was approaching. Yet he was still proposing to me. The only reason was obvious. He wanted to continue an improper relationship with me after the marriage. Me, Abigail, Wendy, and all the unknown number 6s, 7s, and 8s we hadn't discovered yet. He wanted all of us, even though I knew exactly what he was thinking. I pretended to be surprised and overjoyed. I let him place the ring on my finger. Then I gently hugged him. He tightened the embrace, spinning me around in circles beneath the mountain sky. That night, he wanted to be intimate with me. I told him I was on my period and it wasn't convenient. He immediately replied that I couldn't fool him. My period wasn't due for another week. See? He was still as attentive as ever. He even remembered my cycle perfectly. But despite risking his anger, I refused him anyway. For some reason, Wendy's repeated warning kept echoing in my mind. He can only sleep with me. None of you should touch him. My instincts told me there was a deeper meaning behind those words. Perhaps all of us had misunderstood Wendy. My suspicion would soon be confirmed. But before that happened, Wendy managed to shock us once again. What she did next completely shattered our previous understanding of her. Chapter 7. Henry and Valeria's wedding proceeded as scheduled. It was held on a breathtakingly beautiful island far from civilization. Although it was a small private ceremony, Valeria had invited several influential media outlets to document the occasion under the pretense of creating keepsakes. Following the plan, the moment the officiant announced it was time to exchange rings, we appeared together, all wearing wedding dresses. And that wasn't all. The giant screen behind the stage, which had originally been displaying their wedding photos, suddenly switched to a slideshow documenting Henry's relationships with us. Every detail, every memory. The crowd erupted into chaos. All of the family members and guests were completely stunned. The media photographers Valeria had arranged immediately began snapping picture after picture of Henry's panicked face. He was clearly terrified. Even his voice sounded hoarse as he tried to defend himself. "Who are you people? I don't even know you!" He practically roared at us. "Oh, I get it. You were sent by my competitors, weren't you? You're trying to destroy my reputation? Or ruin the Gene Group? Let me tell you, smack." Before he could finish, Valeria slapped him across the face. The crowd fell silent. Her eyes were red with tears. Looking utterly heartbroken, she said, "Henry, we grew up together. We've been engaged since childhood. Search your conscience. Have I ever treated you badly? Has the Mu family ever treated you badly? And this is how you repay me? No. Listen to me." He grabbed her hand desperately. "Let me explain." Smack. A second slap landed on his other cheek. "What is there left to explain?" She pointed at the giant screen behind them. "Aren't these enough proof? They're fake. All of it is fake. These things can be fabricated. You have to trust me. I really don't know any of these women. Henry, Abigail stepped forward, lifting the hem of her wedding dress. Her voice trembled with emotion. You don't know me? Was everything between us fake? You were the one who took me wedding dress shopping. You were the one who picked out my dress. You told me you wanted to marry me from the moment you first saw me. Come on, everyone, listen for yourselves. Let's see whether he really said those things. Let's see whether I'm lying. She raised a voice recorder. Then she pressed play. The recording from the wedding dress boutique filled the hall. Henry visibly panicked, but he stubbornly insisted the audio could have been fabricated. At that moment, I gave a signal. Immediately, the giant screen switched again. This time, it displayed the video of Henry proposing to me beneath the Alps. Yes, I had secretly recorded it. Now there was no way for him to argue. His face instantly turned deathly pale, but it still wasn't over, because at that moment, the doors of the hotel suddenly swung open. Wendy walked in. She, too, was wearing a wedding dress. In her hands was a medical file stuffed with reports and documents. Slowly, she walked toward the center of the stage, holding up the file for the guests and media to see. She spoke. Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy. I'm a fourth-year university student. And this, she lifted one of the documents, is my pregnancy examination report. I'm carrying Henry's child. He told me he would marry me. He promised to give me and our baby a complete family. Her voice trembled. But I don't understand why he's here today, marrying someone else. Henry. Tears filled her eyes as she looked at him. Can you give me an explanation? Were all the things you said to me lies? What am I supposed to do? What about our child? The performance was almost too convincing, too emotional, too real. The instant she finished speaking, large tears began streaming down her face. For a moment, even I found myself wondering whether she was acting at all. Maybe those emotions were genuine, but the pregnancy, was that real too? How could that be possible? Or was she trying to use the baby to force Henry to marry her? Chapter 8. By this point, the entire venue had erupted into complete chaos. Before Henry could even respond to Wendy, his father charged onto the stage like a madman and started beating him. You disgrace! You've brought shame upon the entire Jean family. You've ruined our reputation. And now you're going to destroy the company too. I'll kill you! The old man was so enraged that his blood pressure skyrocketed. Moments later, he collapsed unconscious. Just like that. Henry's father was rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. His mother cried hysterically and had to be supported as she followed after him. As for Henry, he tried to run, but he was instantly surrounded by reporters. Cameras and microphones pointed at him from every direction. There was no escape. Mr. Henry, is it true that you were simultaneously involved with multiple women? Is it true that you got a university student pregnant? Do you have anything you'd like to say to your bride? We've heard that your marriage to the Moo family was a business alliance. Now that the wedding has collapsed, what are the Moo Group's plans going forward? There are rumors that the Moo Group is facing bankruptcy. Is that true? How do you intend to explain yourself to those women? Besides them, do you have any other girlfriends? Mr. Henry, please answer the question. Mr. Henry, trapped in the middle of the crowd. Henry looked completely broken. He swung his fists wildly while screaming at everyone around him. Shut up! All of you! Shut up! Get out! Get lost! All of you! Get lost! Whether anyone else left or not, I couldn't say, but the four of us definitely took the opportunity to get out of there. And then we went to celebrate. Well, almost all of us. Wendy still didn't come with us. We invited her to join the group chat, but she never accepted. Could it be that she was actually pregnant with Henry's child? Had she truly been determined to marry him all along? Was her dramatic appearance at the wedding really just an attempt to force him into marriage? The answers came sooner than expected. A few nights later, Henry suddenly showed up at my apartment. He knocked on my door and insisted that his love for me had always been real, that his desire to marry me had been genuine, and that his apology tonight was sincere too. Of course, I didn't believe a single word. Because Abigail had already told us in the group chat that he had gone looking for her as well. She just happened to be out of town at the time. Even now, after everything that had happened, he was still remarkably fair and balanced, still trying to keep every bowl of water level. In other words, he was still trying to hold on to every woman at once. Chapter 9. Did you come here just to disgust me with all this? I couldn't even pretend to be polite anymore. Does it matter whether it's true or false at this point? I don't care. I just want you to stay out of my life from now on. The farther away you go, the better. Do you understand? You're nothing but a stain on my life. As I moved to close the door, he suddenly grabbed the doorknob. Furious, he shouted, I thought you'd be different from other women. I thought you were smart, reasonable, open-minded. I never expected you to be this old-fashioned. Luna, I really overestimated you. What exactly is that supposed to mean? I was genuinely confused, without a trace of shame. He explained, so what if I have more than one girlfriend? So what if I'm married and have a wife and children? As long as we're in love and happy together, isn't that enough? He looked at me with profound disappointment. Marriage is just a set of shackles, a system designed to suppress human nature. Why shouldn't a man have girlfriends after getting married? Besides, it's not like I can't afford them. I can provide money. I can provide love. Why can't all of you coexist peacefully? I couldn't be bothered to waste another word on him. At that moment, I felt that he had completely lost his mind. One finger at a time, I pried his hand off the doorknob and shoved him away. Before closing the door, I gave him one final warning. If you come harass me again, I'll call the police. As expected, the three of us immediately blocked every possible way he could contact us. For a while afterward, we watched the drama unfold online and enjoyed seeing the downfall of the entire Jean family. Wendy, however, went in the exact opposite direction, just as she had wanted. All of us had broken up with Henry. Now Henry truly belonged to her alone. She even posted photos online of them holding hands and showing off their relationship. She wrote, as long as you still love me, that's enough. Well, everyone chooses their own path. If she was happy, then so be it. Not long afterward, however, we heard that she had lost the baby. It happened at a hotel, and judging from the photos circulating online, the man accompanying her when she left the hotel didn't appear to be Henry. Instead, he seemed to be one of Henry's business partners. What their relationship was, or what had happened inside that hotel, remained unknown. But an even more shocking development was still to come. Several months later, Henry tested positive for HIV. Soon afterward, numerous complications followed. The doctors directly informed his family that the prognosis was extremely poor and advised them to prepare themselves mentally. Everything happened so suddenly. His mother cried until she fainted several times. His father was repeatedly hospitalized due to high blood pressure. It was fair to say that the entire family had collapsed. The various companies under their control were gradually acquired by Valeria. The Jean Group no longer existed. From then on, there was only the Mu Group, only Valeria Mu. During that period, she was busier than ever, and she finally proved to her parents that women could build empires through their own abilities, that they weren't merely tools for business marriages or bargaining chips in power struggles. While she focused on her career, Abigail and I started planning a vacation. After all, once Miss Mu transferred the $5 million reward she had promised each of us, we got a little carried away, and suddenly felt a strong urge to spend a ridiculous amount of money. Chapter 10. In the end, we decided to go to Antarctica. Before leaving, however, we heard another shocking piece of news. Wendy was dying too. She had HIV as well. Or rather, the virus in Henry's body had actually come from her. According to the rumors, when Henry's company was collapsing and he was desperately trying to secure funding, he sweet-talked Wendy into using her body to win over potential investors and business associates. Even though she was pregnant at the time, for reasons nobody understood, she agreed. That was also when she lost the baby. And most likely, that was when she became infected. Heartbroken and completely disillusioned, Wendy eventually decided to drag Henry down with her. That was how Henry became infected later on. But I always felt the truth was more complicated than that. After all, long before that, when Abigail and I had tried to recruit her, she repeatedly emphasized one thing: Henry belongs to me. None of you can touch him. What if? From the very moment she discovered Henry had betrayed her, she had already decided to take revenge? What if the reason she kept us away from him was actually to protect us? If so, her method was unimaginably extreme. She had chosen to die together with him because of a man? Was that really worth sacrificing her own life? I couldn't understand it, and eventually, I stopped trying. Not long after we returned from Antarctica, we received news that Wendy had passed away. Before her death, she left a letter for Abigail and me. The letter said that she was grateful for what happened outside the bar that night, when her uncle had attacked her. We were the ones who stepped forward to protect her. She wrote that it was the first time in her life that anyone had ever stood up for her, and it was at that moment that she had decided to carry out her revenge against Henry alone. Because between her and Henry stood a blood debt. It turned out that the construction site where her parents had died years ago had been a project contracted by the Jean Group. She had approached Henry in the first place for revenge, but when her younger brother was diagnosed with leukemia and needed an enormous amount of money for treatment, she forced herself to continue the relationship. Then Henry began manipulating countless women's emotions, and for his own benefit, he treated her as a tool in his power struggles, including sending her to the beds of business partners. In other words, her desire to see Henry dead had not developed overnight. When she learned she was infected, she was happy. She believed fate was helping her. At last, she could take him with her. In the letter, she wrote, "I never expected that the only warmth in my life would come from two girls who were complete strangers. Thank you for protecting me. Thank you for helping me. I hope that in another life, we'll have the chance to be friends." She also wrote, "Don't be sad for me. This was my choice. My little brother died from leukemia. There's nothing left in this world for me anymore. I'm so tired. I only want to reunite with my parents as soon as possible, even if it's somewhere in heaven." After reading the letter, Abigail and I held each other and cried for a long time. All the details we had never understood before finally made sense. Wendy had never been blinded by love. What she wanted wasn't just Henry's money. She wanted Henry's life. One day, while visiting her grave, Abigail suddenly said, "You should write our story down. I hope you can give Wendy a happy ending. I don't want her to remain here forever." I was thinking the same thing. And so, half a year later, I wrote a novel called The Girlfriends Who Became His Downfall. In my version of the ending, later, the four of us created a group chat. Not only did we spend his money without mercy, but we also regularly got together to play mahjong. Everyone had been hurt by that relationship, but in the end, no one remained trapped in it. Without exception, we all moved on.